We need a new way to use knowledge. And the kinds of ways to use knowledge are going to be ways which respect the kind of knowledge that community groups who are trying to make a better life in their own locations, and academics who are concerned that their knowledge will have an impact on society. That kind of new knowledge partnership is a key factor in the next phase of international development.
There are lots of models around the world of universities working directly with marginalised communities. What we have here is a 9-university model of working not in competition with each other, but in collaboration. And those universities have been committed at senior management level.
And once we got ourselves clear at that level, what we then did was all the institutions went out and discussed with their community partners and potential partners. Some had good links, some had what you might call emergent links, and some had none at all.
Some of the networking events that were held for the project were very interesting in that there was obviously a lot of people who had never even thought that they would ever sort of enter the portals of a university, who were being brought into it from the sort of contacts that were being made.
People often ask, why do universities need to engage with the public? There are different ways you can make the case, really, and I think one way is you can say, well, actually, it's become an increasing policy and funding objective, really, for the funders of higher education. They're saying that engaging with the public in terms of your research really matters, and they're also saying we want an education for young people and for students which is socially engaged.
We really need to be working across boundaries directly with those groups so that we understand their needs and can work with them to produce knowledge in order to solve problems.
Take many different forms. This is a particular aspect of it. Higher education institutions have a wonderful opportunity to make a real contribution. They may be one of the largest, relatively untapped resources that our communities have.
It seems like it makes university less of an academic institution that you go there, you go to lectures and you just study. It brings an extra dimension where people are going out into communities, are leaving the university campus. They're not just spending 3 years in a classroom, but actually they're going out actively learning while they're outside of classrooms, while they're outside of lectures, with their own ideas, their own input. So it's empowering the students a lot more. And first got involved in this kind of activity in my second year, doing improvisation and composition classes. And ever since then, I've just been thinking, want to do that more, want to do more, want to do more. So for my future, it'd be really great to do.
I would say that it's an enormous enhancement to the academic knowledge base to work with people in different community settings, acknowledging that the knowledge that they have is of equal value to what happens within the university. It's very much about developing community and about creating a sense of confidence in people. So far, we've run well over 400 workshops. I felt it was very important from the outset to be able to choose people to do the training who came from all kinds of different professions. This is not just for musicians. Academia can be very dry, so it injects something which is very valuable. Potentially it has a profound effect on the curriculum because it takes away this canonic set of values and replaces that with a very human set of values. And I think universities really need that. And that's what comes from the community in terms of knowledge. It's humanizing the academic context.
One of the key things that we've been able to develop from participation in the project is some interprofessional learning involving occupational therapy students, social work students and medical students to support them to appreciate a basic introduction to the cultural identity of deaf people and how that can affect their well-being and how that needs to be considered when services are being delivered.
Information and advice and signposting, as in said, giving you direction of where to get the information that you need. It could be benefits advice, you might want community meals, you might want to contact Sussex Deaf Association, the RNID, Deaflines UK, absolutely anybody. They will be able to find out where you would go to get that resolved.
Learning from the lived experience of people can help us make sure that what we do, particularly in professional training, means that we produce qualified professionals who are able to genuinely have some understanding of people's situation. Another very significant development has been the opportunities it's provided for research. We've been able to have 2 of our master's students carry out research projects related to deaf people's well-being and professional practice, which just would not have been possible without partnership with the project.
The involvement of university, I think the university was a gateway for us. The university opened the door. It was leading from the front at the very beginning of the project because the university had the expertise, the knowledge that could support and open, they had the key to open the door for us. So I haven't seen or heard of that opportunity in the past. There were different ways to learn. It wasn't just the place where you went and learned there, but it's the community coming out towards the other people, other communities.
It started as a youth group, and we had lots and lots of young people who were coming to us, and they felt that they had some sort of potential ability or potential talent in certain art forms, but they didn't know where they could go to express it or develop what they had.
So you've got your headphones on, now we're going to do the mic.
We've got a radio production suite that we've built here.
Yep, that's it.
This is Street to Walk In by Hitsman.
That's it.
So we could actually run a radio programme out of there. And we've got MCs that record in the recording studio.
Don't give up on AIDS.
We're also bringing a group of young people to a conference that you're having in the university. I think it's the Resilience Therapy Conference as well, and that's exactly the kind of project that we want our young people to be involved in.
And the idea, from my perspective, is to get something that really tells the audience something about resilience, that they'll come out of that performance and they'll think, wow, I really understand something about resilience I didn't understand before, or have some emotional reaction.
This is the first time where I think we've worked with an education establishment, and the young people are being given recognition for the actual work that they've done, not just the standard, but the actual ideas. And the university is probably the first educational establishment that's actually said, what do you guys want to do?
So we were just talking about how you might bring that out in the performance.
I can write music, I can write songs, I can do this, I can do that. But my big thing would be to perform. And they said, well, you can't perform them lyrics, you can't perform that song. So I had to go home and find a way to put the words across in the same meaning, but in a positive attitude.
It sort of like puts a stamp on what you thought of the work in the first place, because we always thought, this is really special what we're doing here.
What to start with?
How many flyers and things have you done for us now?
A lot.
University is like a major part of it, because you cannot have real education unless you kind of like interact with people in that sort of academic field. So yeah, the university is kind of like key, but also the college and also the schools. Education itself is kind of like key to what we're actually doing, because we think the face of education is changing anyway.
Having the project here has definitely given us a new way of thinking. It's enabled us to have the credibility for what we're trying to do here. It's evolved from being a kitchen showroom to being a heritage centre, a music hall and cinema. It really made other people realise how important Sheppey was.
It's all right for local people to say it, but to have academics reaffirm that has been a huge step forward. There's actually an audit trail from the research to regeneration of a community. And regeneration just isn't about buildings, it's about getting the heart and the spirit back into a community. If you haven't got a sense of pride in the place that you live, you don't get a sense of pride in what you can achieve.
This is my one. I like him because he looks a bit nervous, which is how I felt when I first came into the group, but he also looks interested, his ears are up, so he's listening to everything, and that's how I found the whole experience, that I've listened to everybody's different experiences, and I've learnt so much from everybody, and it's been fab.
I just picked this one. It sums up my attitude when I started this. It was I kind of felt, well, we're all here, we're all from different backgrounds, we all know where we want to go to, so let's all just go for it and see what's on the other side.
So having had an experience where the university has been involved, would you do it again?
Yes. Without hesitation, yes.
I think that the SEC project has had a big influence not just on the communities but on the universities themselves, because it's broadened the minds of academics and management about what's possible. It's helped us to think about something else that's more exciting, that exists beyond the binaries of teaching and research, which is a knowledge exchange idea.
One of the things that comes out of this, there's a potential connection with the curriculum, student volunteering, particularly in the community, and there's potential on the research side to connect people who've got relevant research interests.
I think this equality of relationship between the university and community does much more than boost morale. I think it extends our knowledge base. It broadens our sense of what it is to be human. It actually identifies much more clearly the purpose for which we do this work.
The legacy and spin-off for the SEC programme is really the relationships that have been fostered and developed within communities, and we have now direct links with many community groups as well as third sector and government agencies.
As a triumvirate of the 3 universities within Hampshire, we've got to know each other much better, and we've got much better contacts within our little regional group. And certainly I'm pretty confident that I could speak to University of Southampton and University of Portsmouth to talk to them about a project that's come in on social enterprise and look at it as a partnership approach to how we would deal with that.
Once you have the relationships, you know, you really need to keep those relationships alive even when the funding is over. We have found that universities that have these kinds of ongoing partnerships are much more successful in getting increased research grants because they've got the partnerships in place.
I think there's a very important philosophical point, which is absolutely this sort of work is what universities should be doing. It's not just about corporate and social responsibility, it's about a moral duty to be working with the communities that we serve.
I think you can also articulate a number of benefits that it brings to universities in terms of how it motivates their staff and their students. That kind of opening up of the university to multiple conversations really profoundly affects the quality of the education. We're really keen to emphasise it's a two-way street. This is not about universities just going out and being charitable. This is about being a better university, and it really helps you be better.